And if you live in America, this is something that every American needs to see. And I think this is going to be global news here soon. This is actually insane. In this podcast, I'm skipping about halfway through. So if you want to watch the full podcast, look this up. The Sam Shoemate Cybertruck bomber Matt Levingsburg email reveals new evidence. New evidence that China and America are the only places in the world that have gravitational propulsion technology. Like, we cracked the code of gravity, which kind of makes sense because there's maybe about a decade ago there's an Asian girl in Mississippi who was working on gravitational energy, made some type of crazy breakthrough. All of a sudden went missing, vanished, poof, out of America. And now America and China are the only ones with gravitational propulsion energy. And I felt like I'm putting on my tin hat here. But guys, this is, sit back, take some notes. Our governments may be lying to us.
I know everybody out there has to be just as frustrated as I am when it comes to the BS and the rhetoric that the mainstream media continuously tries to force feed us.
Yep, because every time I hear something from mainstream news, whether it comes from Fox, CNN, MSNBC, the BBC, if I see it on the mainstream news broadcast, I have a hard time believing the credibility of what I'm hearing. Most of the time I hear it and I'm like, okay, that's what it's not.
And I also know how frustrating it can be to try to find some type of a reliable news source. It's getting really hard to find the truth and what's going on in the country and in the world. And so one thing we've done here at Sean Ryan Show is we are developing our newsletter.
If you guys don't know who this guy is, former military, formerly in the military, high up in the military, interviews real people, brings them down. They do they normally do some breaking stuff. Like, they will actually reveal things that they've been working on for a while and just break it on this type of this show by the Sean Ryan Show with 3.6 million subscribers. So you know it's a super popular show. I really do recommend everybody watch this. But the guest on here, Sam Shoemate, is somebody who specializes in looking at security information and just overall intelligence, right? He's a part of the intelligence community, and the information that he has on the Vegas bombing is insane.
Up through the southern border, how they're entering the country, how they're traveling, what these different terrorist organizations throughout the world are up to. And here's the best part, the newsletter is actually free. We released product. Join me and my special guest for the next behind-the-scenes experience, exclusively available on Vigilance Elite Patreon. The behind-the-scenes footage and possibly moments before $1 a month.
All right, Sam, we're back from the break. We did do a scrape of the email. Here is what we got. He actually did email us. This came in on December 29th, 2024.
This is insane.
At 10:17 p.m.
You've watched this before?
The
beautiful.
Support desk on SeanRyanShow.com. And by the way, all these emails will be posted on my X account, Sean Ryan 762, and your X account,
Samus Whore.
All right, here's the message traffic. Hey man, this is an active duty SFTM sergeant out of 10th. I want to blow the whistle on our activities in a certain place. I'm willing to sit down with you on the 31st in Flagstaff or do it remotely via phone. Must be done before the 31st as I'll be leaving.
Wow, that's ominous. This dude sent an email saying, hey, this has to be done before the 31st because I'm out of here on the 1st. What does that actually mean?
So we'll be sending this to the FBI as well. Love your contact. I'm also gonna hit some people I know over there, but I just, these people don't always talk, so yeah. I think it would be good to keep some continuity here.
What does everyone think about gravitational propulsion technology? Is it sci-fi, or are we actually figuring it out?
But so we did receive an email. What was this guy's? You deleted the message.
The burner account on there, I did. He told me to delete it, and I did. It's a common practice. People get spooked, and they want it deleted, so I do it for them.
Yeah, I was going to throw that up there, but there's tens of thousands of messages in there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very obvious why he did this, I think. He wanted to bring attention to the incident in 2019
This is fascinating to me, is that they think that this wasn't somebody who had a mental breakdown or a collapse. This was a very capable military dude who, if he really wanted to, could do a lot more damage. But in the fact he chose very specific things to minimize the amount of damage and maximize the amount of visibility.
Got covered up. Do you have any
Yeah.
insight, any theories on this?
So we had a running theory downstairs. I've seen all of the conspiracies. I've seen all the questions about, all right, this guy is what, 20-year special forces. He just got done with team sergeant time. He is a very qualified and very capable Green Beret. Everybody I've spoken to who knew the guy prior, yesterday I spoke to several people, to include his old team leader, who's now lieutenant colonel. Said he was fine, nothing out of place. His mental state was not
South Korean police have arrived at the president's house to arrest him.
something that
President Moon Jae?
anybody was concerned about. His ex-girlfriend posted photos of him bragging about how he got a Tesla and all this other stuff. So stick with me here.
President Yoon?
Very capable guy,
Wow.
but he loads the Tesla up. A Tesla, which Elon Musk brags about being bulletproof, right? So this is one of his selling points. It's bulletproof. We even saw Joe Rogan shoot an arrow at it.
Is this crazy how much of an ad this has been for Tesla? I would never have imagined a tragedy in the United States be the perfect ad for the Tesla Cybertruck.
And wasn't able to puncture this thing.
Actually insane.
So he loads up a Tesla knowing that it's going to, not explode like he wants it to with fireworks and a bunch of other junk, when he can make a car bomb that's going to level this place. Here's what I think.
This is the most fascinating take I've heard of this.
So the PAO, the Army PAO,
No one else is talking about this. Nobody else is talking about this. And these are two former military guys, and this guy, his whole job is breaking down intelligence information. These are the people I want to listen talk about this.
is saying that the body inside the cab did not match the DNA of his child. All right.
That's crazy to me. This tells me that somebody died, and I don't think it's Matt Levingsburg's who was in that vehicle. There was already a bullet shot in the head before the car exploded, and there was no gun that went off, or there's no gun signature that went off. And supposedly the gun that was used was a 50 caliber Desert Eagle. And let me tell you, as somebody who shot one of those things, when that thing goes boom, it goes boom, and it's heard by everybody around you.
We also know that there was no, they said he was shot by a Desert Eagle.
Or he wasn't the father. Yes, some people could say that, hey, he lived his whole life, and his kid, who he's been paying, raising up, it wasn't actually his kid. I see that as this dude put a car that can drive itself and parked it in the front of a hotel, with Trump and Elon being the political figureheads that are moving into 2025. I think this was really a message.
We know that there was no
Like, I can honestly connect all the dots to be like, yo, what the fuck?
signature when it rolled up. So nobody shot themselves when it rolled up to it. You would have seen a large signature. Mr. Guns and Gear, he's on X. He goes into this a lot in depth. He's a firearms expert, and he talks about this, and there's no signature. So this is what happens.
Desert Eagle is loud, yes. And can we also agree that that's kind of insane to you? I mean, I guess if I was to really try to, do the thing, I would want the largest caliber gun I can get my hands on. But yo, a Deagle?
You get a Tesla because you know it can drive itself up to the hotel, the Trump Tower. You put a body in it, roll it up. It's already burned up, or it's already shot. Excuse me. You don't.
And really, the things that's linking Matt, I believe so far, are just guns that were in the truck of the car. I think that's literally all that's linking to him, because the body that was found apparently doesn't match the DNA of the guy's son.
Want to kill anybody, because that's not the message you're trying to send. You're not trying to level the tower or kill a bunch of people. So you load it up with fireworks and a bunch of junk to send a message. And we know that his signal number, or his signal safety number, changed. That can't be done unless you're inside that signal account.
So either this guy's life was completely co-opted by the government and the government set him up for this, or he's still alive.
And a lot of people conjecture, was the FBI inside his signal account, whatever else. But what if he accidentally changed his safety number, goofed up there? He rolled a body up in a Tesla, specifically because a Tesla can drive itself up to the tower, and did what he did to send a message to expose his stuff. And he's still alive out there somewhere.
What if somebody's covering for him? Possibly.
Well, the other
It answers
thing
a lot of
is-
questions.
The other
I wouldn't imagine something like this is done with somebody who's working completely alone. I would imagine maybe 4 or 5 people know about this.
thing is, maybe the FBI wasn't in his phone. Maybe, I mean, this guy's obviously very
Maybe
competent.
less.
I mean, he's
Maybe
got
3?
a TSSCI clearance. I'm
Very.
sure the polygraph has been associated with USASOC. Obviously, he was on this operation in 2019. By the way, the general in charge of that was General Miller. You'll see that in the email that we post on X later after this interview comes out. You know, maybe he changed his number on purpose and switched phones because he obviously was tipped off or conducted his own counter surveillance and caught Homeland or FBI tracking him.
This is insane. This is, you know, when they say that the truth sometimes is stranger than fiction, this could be the truth, and this is literally a movie. This is like how Robert Snowden eventually blew the whistle on how the government really, for the United States, like for Americans, how like the government was actually spying on you, and the government isn't your buddy. This may be just another fucking layer to like, yo, the government is not only not your buddy, but the government itself, the politicians that are in place right now, may actively be fighting against you.
And so I think there's a very good possibility that
Jay, this is
Matthew Livelsberg.
Jay. Hi, how you doing, buddy? I hope you're having a good night. Ace, good morning, everybody. This is what's going on. This is, you know, a video going on what's happened in Vegas. I would love to know your thoughts on this. As somebody who's in Michigan, in the United States, I would love to know your thoughts on this.
Might be still alive.
It checks, as far as I can tell, it checks all the blocks.
The Desert Eagle, you know, the Desert Eagle.
This is insane.
I mean, yeah.
yeah,
Over the top firearm.
A
But
little
if
bit.
You think about it. If he was going to kill himself, or whoever was in that car was going to kill himself, look, if I was gonna commit suicide with a firearm, I would go with the biggest possible bullet.
Yeah, you don't want to do it with like a little 22 and have to put like 19 holes in your head to get the job done. Like you would want one thing, and but no, this is not Dana White.
Caliber of bullet that I could to make sure that it actually worked. Because
This guy is Sean Ryan. He's a true American badass.
wouldn't want to be sitting there choking all over myself.
Because before 9/11, the government misplaced millions of dollars, and that's why some people think 9/11 was fake, and it's happening again.
Yeah.
Fucking 9 mil or something.
It is interesting that also on 9/11, the Pentagon got smacked right in the place where it's audited, and whoop, all the servers are gone. Haha. What if? You have to keep a 1% probability. You can't say nothing is for certain.
True.
So that is, as far as I know,
It's sus. No, I agree, Jay. There's something, and I also don't think, Jay, I don't think the New Orleans event and the Las Vegas event were together. I think those are legitimately 2 completely separate things that just kind of happened in coincidence, but at the same time, I don't believe in coincidences.
a 50 caliber Desert Eagle is the biggest handgun caliber that you can get.
Oh yeah.
And so that could play into this as well. But
There's a lot going on.
That's a
was
lot.
there something in that email again that said that this would prevent World War III with the UAP?
Well,
drones?
it didn't say it would prevent World War III, but he was
Listen to this.
asking that he said you need to elevate this to the media so we avoid a world war because this is a mutually assured destruction situation.
Mutually assured destruction, assuming that this is all true, that the United States government and the Chinese government both have anti-gravitational propulsion technology. And this is coming from a numbnut who says it like it's sci-fi, but apparently there's a real way to say it because it's no longer sci-fi. Is the CIA's doing 2-vector? I think it's the intercept somewhere. You're probably not wrong, right? There's no such thing as coincidences. It's somehow, some way, even if it's one dot on the board of all the red strings connecting it, there's something connecting this.
I wonder what he's trying to do with these, what he's trying to tell us with these drones.
I hesitate to even get into this realm because I have no expertise in drones or let's just call it alien technology.
This guy has so much credibility to me where he says where he has knowledge in and where he doesn't.
There's earlier. several weeks ago. I don't know if you saw that video. It was a New Jersey sheriff or chief of police. I can't remember which.
Absolutely,
but he flew
it is.
their own drone up, their own department drone up to try to figure out what was going on. So we had all these drone issues that were being cited off of New Jersey and everything. And what he commented on video was how fast these things were. He said, we have a pretty robust drone, and they flew it up there to try to catch these drones that were there, and they just, bam, they were gone. He
That's fascinating.
said there was no catching them, never seen anything like it. They don't even know, they have no idea what that could have been. And so you have this capability that is, I guess, in line with what we hear about anti-gravity being. And
Same company rented those 2 cars? Wait, they were both rented by Toro?
I don't know. It makes you wonder.
Well, you have the stuff with Ryan Graves and is it Dan Favor, Dave Favor?
Politics are dirty, Jay. And earlier today I streamed, and the consensus was that politics is like playing in dirty water. Eventually, you're going to get dirty too.
The commander David Favor, who, you know, was it the Nimitz?
It was in the Nimitz strike.
I didn't realize the New
Yeah, the
Orleans guy
Nimitz
had a
strike
car
group of
rented by Toro.
2004 that
That's new to me.
reported those UAPs coming out of the water that
yeah.
had no propulsion.
Doesn't matter what party it is. Politicians are power hungry. Yeah, because it doesn't matter if it's the right wing or left wing, because it's all a part of the same bird.
Right. I remember that.
But, you know, and it's interesting that nobody seems to know what the drones are, and it just, you know, kind of disappeared out of the media. And, you know, and the other thing is we do have the capability to take these drones out. Well, everybody was trying to figure out what the drone's on. I brought on a very prominent businessman, Joe
How can we say for sure that we have the technology to bring these things down?
Lonsdale, who is the co-founder of a company called Epirus. Epirus is they manufacture these directed EMP weapons that can take out.
It's not simple. Yeah, especially if it's like anti-gravitational technology. What if you shoot a missile at it? The gravity field around it, I mean, I'm just playing with sci-fi here, I think would distort its flight path and maybe make it a little harder to hit. Or maybe make it easier to hit. I don't fucking know.
100 drones at a time, with a basically sends out a simultaneous different directed EMP weapons. Brought him on. He's also founder of Palantir, big AI platform that the military's been using.
Sure.
That kind of revolutionized warfare.
Big fan.
So, so we could have taken those drones out at any moment in time. In fact, I know those are deployed. So that could be. So he had 2 objectives. One, he definitely wanted to bring light to 2019. That obviously affected his code of morals, and the drones.
Yeah.
And he's obviously very worried about World War III, which
Yeah,
I think
I do.
everybody right now.
I do. It's right next to me.
But why
The little 9mm handgun.
why Trump Hotel? Why Las Vegas?
Yeah.
That I can shoot very well.
Conjecture and speculation at this point. I couldn't even tell you. You know, I've heard both sides. I've seen them finding posts from his wife, who's very allegedly. I'm not saying this. I'm just saying what has been put out on social media is very anti-Trump. She has had a number of anti-Trump posts, and then him, who his family say he's a stalwart patriot, Trump supporter, all these other things, which I guess if I had to guess, just in the realm of conjecture again, I would say Trump Tower.
I wouldn't be surprised if the alphabet soup of DC is working with the intelligence not from this planet. Honest to God, I don't think I would be either. Like at this point, and it's all been like hidden from us.
It draws more media, more.
Since we're already tin hat, apparently, you know, with the Bob Lazar, if you follow the alien lore at all, apparently back in Area 51, they found this book on religion and how religion was manufactured. And really, we are vessels, we are containers, and apparently aliens siphon off some form of energy, and that we are vessels for that energy. Maybe our souls or something along those lines. That's really weird. but that does kind of play into the idea of energy, frequency, putting out good energy, or some people putting out negative energy. Like it kind of makes sense, especially since how energy is not created or destroyed, it can only be transferred. So maybe we are just here to absorb energy, and then when we pass, the energy is dissipated, and they're the ones harvesting that energy, like they're space farmers.
Fanfare was this
I mean, that's like, I feel like I need to smoke another blunt to get on that kind of level of crazy tin hatness, what I just spewed.
assassination attempt, that kind of stuff. So you get more press, more media pulling into it because it is such a significant namesake, if you will. But at the same time, it was a fireworks display and very little more. And if I'm running with the theory that I proposed a little while ago, he didn't want to hurt anybody. He wanted to send a message.
No, I mean,
And this is the most interesting take that I've heard from this, is that the Vegas bombing wasn't to kill anybody, but literally just to send a message and to alert the signal and to pop the lid on something.
it's very obviously, look, the guy's got great tradecraft. You know, I mean, he changed his signal number, if that was him, or his whatever the contact number on signal. 20 plus year in special operations at the highest level. Picked a car that's bulletproof to do this. I think, yeah, there definitely wasn't mass casualties. He wasn't trying to hit mass casualties, because otherwise he would have done it at another location as well, or the bomb would have been bigger to take the entire building
agree.
out. And so this definitely,
That's what's fascinating, is both these military guys are like, yeah, this guy has the knowledge and the capabilities to have done way more damage, and it seemed like he went out of his way to make sure he did as much minimal damage as possible.
wasn't, in my
The body is just a vessel for the soul. It reminds me of Orochimaru from Naruto. Yeah, and there's some of this where it could literally be true, and how Orochimaru just goes from body to body, soul to soul. Like, Islam is weird because their book is behind the radicalization. I don't want to speak. One stream, we're going to go deep into this. It's not going to be this stream. But Islam seems weird because it's the most recent religion, which scares me because I feel like with humans just, especially with translations, they're going to get it wrong. And especially as humans got more evolved, they're thinking about manipulating other humans, so creating another religion that has some of the crazy levels of oppression and quote unquote subjugation in its book against others is very concerning to me. To me, that's not what a religion is supposed to do. It's about community, and the earth, our whole globe, should be one giant ass community, because you're a human and I'm a human. Well, I hope you're a fucking human listening to this. If you're an alien, I come in peace. But we're just humans here, and ideally I want all humans to win, man. There's enough for us to go around.
opinion, this definitely wasn't incompetence.
Another thing to support this. So you got the email. He desperately wanted to talk to you before December 31st. He knew beyond a shadow of a doubt January 1st was go day. Nobody was pressuring
This
him.
is insane.
At the beginning of this email, we see, first of all, I'm not under duress or hostile influence or control. Okay. So he says that he reached out to you. He was very emphatic that it had to be before December 31st because he was doing this thing on January.
Bro, I think you should just respect every religion, but they should respect you too, 1,000,000%. And that's why when there's a subjugation against people who don't follow your own, that's very weird. But devil's advocate here, in Christianity, they kind of do the same thing in their book, where it's like, hey, if it's not your God, it's a very jealous God, da 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 da.
January 1st. For some reason, that was a landmark day to him. Maybe it was just because big day for everybody, January 1st. But he was very emphatic that was the time. And then the thing he was trying to do was, overall, more than anything, was get a message across on the biggest platforms possible. He was trying to talk to Pete Hegseth. Why would you want to talk to the Secretary of Defense? He's trying to blow the whistle on these war crimes. He's trying to say this thing happened, man. Like, I can't live with this anymore. He desperately needed to talk to you, the biggest platform out there. He needed to talk to Fox News. I need to get this message out. That was his overall goal. In everything else, everything I've seen, I have not seen the intended goal was to kill himself or to create a mass casualty event. It is to get this message out. And how can I do that what is the biggest bang for my buck? How can I get that done? That's what I'm seeing here.
Yeah. It's a damn good.
This is fascinating because I saw Asmongold. He created a video where it was just like this guy went mentally unstable and is super stupid. And I've seen a lot of consensus around where this guy Matt Levingsberger is just an idiot. And these two military experts are saying, "Yo, this guy was very tactical in his approach and what he did."
Good point.
I don't know who's right, but I do know this situation is fascinating.
Wow. Do you think there was any correlation between him and
Ooh,
the
I like that, Jay.
New Orleans
Absolutely.
attack?
No,
I don't either.
I looked at all of that. I looked at the posts. I looked at the, people are scrambling for news.
Tomorrow,
Everybody wants to
my
post
time.
Something. They want to be the guy on social
That's
media.
when Solo
post
Leveling drops.
the groundbreaking thing, and I saw these connections.
We'll
to
watch it in
Fort
the morning,
Bragg, and
100%.
They deployed together at this time.
My morning, your night.
Great. So did 500,000 of the rest of us. I was at Fort Bragg. Oh man, tie me to Delta Force. I must have been part of Delta Force and some side. No, I had nothing to do with them. It's this nonsense. It's a big organization. The Army is very large. You're picking things out and you're trying to make this a thing. That New Orleans guy was a staff sergeant who got out of the active duty Army in 2015, and he was in the reserves until 2020. People are saying in the last year he was radicalized. I talked to multiple of his peers, to include, I'm going to be very, very careful with this, former leadership. I'm not going to give what echelon they were at. Former leadership of his. There was no indication at all back then that he was radicalized. He didn't say radicalized. And I've seen the posts. I saw several people who were saying, well, we have confirmed posts that he was saying radical Islamic things. I don't believe it, because nobody he worked with confirmed that. They said, no, we had no indication that he was like this. And if you talk to people now, they said in the last year, he was radicalized. He started taking on these more radical teachings of Islam and everything else. And he had this, he fell into financial hardship and all these.
This situation they're talking about in New Orleans where some jackbutt drove a truck through a crowd of people, killing like 17 and harming 30 other.
These other things. So you're telling me this guy who was a former 42 Alpha S1 guy, human resources, pushes your paper, and then an IT guy, 25 Bravo, is somehow connected to.
Honest to God, Ace, I know I'm pausing this video a lot. If I could be 100% real with you guys, I am actually afraid America has been infiltrated, and I'm very fearful that this isn't going to stop. Because America's never had real battlegrounds in its homeland, right? We've always fought overseas. We've always just brought our troops and sent them overseas. I think some people finally sent their troops and sent their troops overseas into our homeland. I am actually concerned about that, and I hope I'm just a crazy guy on the internet, just going crazy, right? I hope that's what it is, because I would love to be wrong on that, but I feel like America has 100% been infiltrated.
To a Green Beret team sergeant out of 10th. No.
Well, also they found an ISIS flag in New Orleans,
Which
they didn't find any of that here.
I think that might have been just some silliness on his part, trying to take on some kind of Islamic banner of jihad. I would conjecture, all conjecture, say that is likely. He has no affiliations to ISIS. But
I wonder. I don't really believe in coincidences.
I don't either. That's why I think if we had that giant whiteboard and we had all the red lines connecting the dots, these two events probably have some dot connected, but I don't know where and I don't know how, and I'm not obviously in this intelligence community to really know.
And both of these explosions happened in the same day, or both of these attacks, whatever you want to call them, happened on the same day. The attack and the
China owns land here in the U.S. near military bases and next to farmlands. I literally, not only is that crazy to me, this is something that it doesn't make sense to me. I have it on my phone. I literally have a picture of all the land that China owns in the United States. Next to Fort Moore, next to Fort Cavos, next to Camp Bills, next to, they own basically a whole island in Hawaii. I mean, Fort Liberty in New York or North Carolina, The Chinese own land all across America. It's crazy.
explosion, which obviously wasn't meant to be an attack.
The problem is that U.S. thinks that they know Islam better than the Middle East. I don't know how to describe it in words, but totally no. I think these guys who have physically gone over there and seen it, they're like, no, you don't understand. You do not understand.
That's fair. And I don't believe in coincidences either normally, but I look at a landmark day like January 1st and I think, what better day?
Lucifer. I think it's a crazy name, brother. But the reason why many Indians respect China is because they know what Islam really is. For the first time chatter, you coming in with that kind of energy? You based, bro. You based.
Any day. I'm going to do
Very demore.
a thing January 1st.
Yeah.
And I think
Major aura, plus 10, Sigma, Giga Chad.
possibly old boy in New Orleans had help. I don't think that he could have done all the spotting and surveying and assessing himself. He would have
That's-
likely had to at least had a spotter
That's scary.
to say, yeah, you're good to go. Maybe. But I think that's plausible. But other than that, I have a hard time making that connection.
You know, this email, I wonder who else he reached out to.
I bet you Joe Rogan, I know they're going to say at Fox, all of this, if they scrub their emails for this guy's email address, they would have a message waiting for them.
This came in from Dabber GMIB or MLB at protonmail.com. So he was even using an encrypted email service,
Dabber G, Major League Baseball. This guy was a baseball fan.
but which I think everybody in intelligence and special operations knows what proton mail is.
Yeah.
I don't.
I would imagine if Joe Rogan, Fox News, name some other big names out there, scrub their emails right now, they could probably find a message from this guy.
Yeah.
He came to
Totally.
me because I'm like D-list media. I'm the guy who has kind of a platform on social media, but I'm not big time. But I can kind of get things to the big time every once in a while if it's a big enough story. And that's what he was hoping for. He was just throwing mud at the wall, trying to get somebody to get his message out.
Well, it's going to be big time.
You've been fighting them for 1,400 years, or 14,000 years, excuse me. 14 lakh years, huh? Sometimes they win and rule. Sometimes they took 3 large areas from us, Afghan, Pakistan, and Bangladesh. But it looks like Pakistan and Bangladesh may be coming home sooner than later.
Now.
Yeah.
But is there anything else we need to cover that you can think of?
Dude, I'm radicalized? I am? Me?
Jeremy?
Did you want to go into the other item we talked about in the
I don't feel like I'm radical at all. I feel like I'm pretty like,
right over here this morning?
oh, okay. I was
Oh.
like,
Mhm.
Can I say it?
Yes.
Yeah, the man pads. Well,
I'm unfamiliar.
all right. So I'm saying this with
what is a man pad?
you can decide to use this or cut it out. There was
I mean, his name is Demon. He probably he's crazy.
this is hard to work with because keep in mind, let me give some background on this. I'm an intelligence analyst and I've spent many years validating sources, taking information in, putting it back out, telling my humenters, hey, this source, this is valid. Let's, give him a rating of this, do this, recommendations, so we can identify good sources in the field that give us information, and we can say, yes, this is an A source versus an F6. This is just garbage. Somebody got paid for something. I still work in intelligence. I'm an intelligence officer. I work for a nonprofit. We Remnant Ministries out of Texas. In fact, the website is in my bio on X. I work for Dr. Pete Chambers, Green Beret. And we were involved in counter-human trafficking along with just providing ministry to
Who's the other guy? This guy?
all kinds of stuff.
Dude, I have read holy books, Islam, so I know better than anyone what Islam teaches.
Border operations. Most recently, we've been
Like I said, one stream we're gonna go down to the deep rabbit hole on that. Not this stream.
involved in West North Carolina a great deal. And we had some confirmed reporting. through
Who's the
two
other guy? This
solid
guy?
Sources. And this is where I have to be very iffy. And I told him in the car, and he can tell you offline, I cannot say this on the air,
I won't speculate. I like facts. Speculation only muddles the water. Agreed.
but we had two solid sources, one south
That's why whenever this guy is speaking, he's trying not to muddle any of the water. He only is going to speak on the things that he knows.
of the border, and then one from
This guy isn't that he's so much famous. This is just a guy who actively works in the intelligence community, right? So this is his job, is to work in intelligence, and I mean, seemingly an American patriot. Was in the military, has ties with the military, ties with high level military people, and is sitting across a legit American badass
an element within our own
who retired from the military, is former military, and now has the ability to have a platform to have high level guests on that attract a lot of attention, thus gaining him quite a following.
government that confirmed independently of each other that some Iranian-made man pads, so surface-to-air missiles, had come across the border. We had the location and everything else. Well, Doc, that's what he goes by, Doc Chambers, he put this out on a podcast, and I was very emphatic, like, this is not stuff that I like to put on social media. I'm an intel guy by trade. This stuff is not for social media consumption. We got this to Secret Service. We did the whole gamut and got everything pushed to them, and that's why Trump was pushing a lot of this stuff out when he was, because
Iran snuck missiles across the border?
we had told the Secret Service, and they
Were the drones in New Jersey looking for those bombs?
had the reporting and everything else. But
I know I'm speculating here and I'm muddling the waters, but this is just, that's where my thought goes. That's like what my thought process is. You know what I mean?
we have not, to my knowledge, have not recovered those man pads. Now, I'm not privy to that, but what I do know we have done is we have apprehended the couriers on a second run of theirs, and we have local law enforcement got together with federal law enforcement and rolled up the safe house in, I will not say that on this show, but they rolled up the safe house where it was, and we have since identified what that issue was on the border.
Now, let me just. Where did they come through?
They came through an actual point of entry
They can't, with the,
in a legal point of entry along the border. I'd have to pull up the original reporting, but we had the actual.
So we now have Iranian missiles.
and they brought Iranian missiles through a legal point of entry? Do you guys understand how crazy that is?
Who knows how many
And
inside the United States?
that is not something you're going to see in a lot of places. I
Fuck, man.
didn't, like I said, I didn't even want to talk about it. It was one of those things where I was just amplifying what he was putting out already, because I was like, man, I don't know about putting this out. But it was something we found was pertinent, because at the time, Trump was still campaigning. He was flying around, and there was the reports were their intent was to take down Trump's airplane. So at the time, Secret Service switched things up a bit, and allegedly, from what I've told, they started flying him around on charters for a while until they could identify and kind of mitigate that threat. But that was the reporting stream that was coming out at the time. Feds handled it, off my plate.
You know, I mean,
Whoa.
I'm with you on the not releasing certain things on social media. I understand that, but on the other hand, it seems to be the only way to demand any type of accountability or get this and force FBI, Homeland, whoever else is involved to dive into this shit and actually take part. And that's what we've been doing here on the show with Scott Mann, retired Lieutenant Colonel Green Beret, Sarah Adams, former agency targeter. We brought on Legend, who's an Army intelligence guy
Holy
who goes by
fuck,
Legend
y'all.
because he doesn't want to.
Do you like the gravity of the last 2 minutes of this conversation is insane. As many as 1,700 soldiers have reportedly deserted Ukrainian brigade trained by France and equipped by Europe, the EU, highlighted as a key problem plaguing Ukraine's war efforts. Interesting. If Trump is gone, then America will descend into chaos? Yeah, no, absolutely it would.
Reveal his name.
We're hanging on by a thread right now. By a literal thread.
He still is very involved. And we even went all the way to Vienna to interview Commander Massoud, the leader of the National Resistance Front in Afghanistan. And you know, we've been talking about this stuff for a year. A year. We got it to Congress. Congressman out of Knoxville, Tennessee, Tim Burchett, sent a bill up. It's literally about we need to stop funding the Taliban, $40 to $87 million a week. The Taliban has set up multiple NGOs within Afghanistan, and basically what we're doing is sending loads of cash to NGOs
Yes.
that the Taliban had set up. We're funding our own demise, and nobody's fucking paying attention.
For how many $1 million a week?
Nobody's paying attention. We tried to get it in the media. We got a little bit of hits. Most of them were from outside the U.S. We had a reporter out of India kind of cover it, but we've been warning about what's happening for damn near a year now. Sarah first came on, I believe it was October of 2023, was her first interview, and nobody took it seriously. Now we have the New Orleans attack. We have
Okay, just so I can get, I was going in and looking at temperature for you, Sabash. It is 0.5 degrees Celsius. 0.5 degrees Celsius outside. It's almost 0 degrees Celsius outside. Literally freezing. Freezing.
we have Iranian missiles. We have these invisible bombs. Do you know about the invisible bombs?
No, don't tell me about the invisible bombs. They get through everything. That's why they're invisible. This is literally terrifying.
So now these terrorist organizations have developed invisible bombs that will get through metal detectors.
Billions a year, by the way? Yeah, because if it's millions a week, 52 weeks in a year, 40 million, that's almost $2 billion.
There's any kind of
Every
screening
year.
device that's out there.
Funding our enemy.
And they brag about this. And now we just did a Twitter Spaces with Sarah Adams.
I'm just going to say one thing. In the Islam questioning Islam or the Prophet Muhammad, no matter what he did in his life, like keeping sex slaves or having sex with 9-year-old despite being a 50-year-old man, is like committing a sin. You can't stay Muslim if you question the Prophet, but then if you read the Quran and the Hadith, you're bound to question Islam. Want me to give a good video on it with a proper reference? Yes, on the day that we go down that rabbit hole. But as I said today, not that day. But that's what I just read out loud. I wish I didn't read out loud.
And they are now bragging that what we know about the invisible bomb, it's now even more advanced than it was before. So that means they can get this into stadiums, they can get this into airports, they can get this pretty much anywhere they want, because you cannot detect it.
That's scary.
That's scary is in fact so true. To think about what just happened in New Orleans, like they could have put bombs in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Or the Superdome, excuse me.
So, you know, for the people out there, you know, look, there's no stopping what's here. You cannot stop this.
Nope, you can't roll it back.
Not
you can't
with
put
what
the
we
genie back
have
in the bottle.
all.
That's what's terrifying is both these military guys are saying you can't put it back in the bottle. You can't stop what's happening. The fact that these two are both American patriots, American badass who are high level in the military are like, we're too deep now. The only thing we could do is respond and respond as quickly as we can. We can't stop what's coming.
Already in here. We have sleeper cells.
Yep.
We're already getting reports that I just lost my train of thought.
Yeah, the phone calls have been made, the emails have been sent out. It's going to be a chain reaction. There's literally the words about to come out of my mouth. Sabash, get out of my head.
Oh, we're already getting some reports that there may be
I
a
literally
bit
was about to
more
say that.
involved in the Louisiana, New Orleans attack that they're not releasing. We also, I'll
Yo, what's
tell
up,
you this, there's a group of people flying around and basically briefing up different departments, governors about what's coming, how to deal with it in their communities. There are deputies in New Orleans who put in requests for training on how to take care of a threat like this, and those fucking requests were denied. They were denied. And so what I
just want to listen to this one more time because when I heard this earlier, what?
around and we're already getting some reports that there may be a bit more involved in the Louisiana, New Orleans attack that they're not releasing. We also, I'll tell you this,
Listen to
there's
this.
a group of people flying around and basically briefing up different departments, governors about what's coming, how to deal with it in their communities. There are deputies in New Orleans who put in requests for training on how to take care of a threat like this, and those fucking requests were denied. They were denied. And so what I basically want to say is it's going to be a bloody 2025. I think that's very obvious. And so for those of you that are looking for something to do,
I'm legitimately fearful of what's to come. I hope it's nothing. I hope the people who are working behind the scenes can shut down it all. I just don't know how probable that is.
and if finally come to the realization that our government is failing us, here's what you need to do. You need to get with your local communities. You need to, especially schools. Schools are very vulnerable no matter how many active shooters we have in the schools. The infrastructure
I won't go down without a fight. They're gonna if they come after me, if I swear if they come after me, any of y'all they come after Jay, all of a sudden they're gonna be like, yo, why did Elliot always look like a monkey? It's cause he's Hanu, man. I come out like I'm Wukong and kick everybody's ass. Ha!
that's been put in, which is minimal to none. A lot of schools still have none. You better start holding your schools accountable, and you better start raising hell and having them upgrade security no matter what the cost, because no matter what the cost is, it's not gonna amount to the loss of life
I hit him with
that
the
we will
Rasengan.
potentially see throughout the United States. And so, and start calling your congressmen, get these guys to do something.
Yeah.
Start calling your senators, get these guys to do something. They have been warned for over a year that this is coming, and nobody wants to take it seriously. Nobody wants to take it seriously. We contacted the House of Foreign Affairs Committee. They did like a Zoom call.
Demon, my dad has two. One of them I could shoot really well. The other one he could shoot very well. We're good.
A Zoom call.
Yeah, that's
Just for a little media hit.
And for Christmas, I got us ammo so that the next time we go to the gun range, it's on me. You know what I'm saying?
Our government
Fully auto? No, they're just semi-automatic.
is failing
Not auto, they're semi-automatic.
us. And so it's in our hands now. It's your kids. It's your wife. It's your husband. It's your parents that are going to pay the price for what we have installed in this
Yes.
country.
Yeah.
And it's now up to us, because they aren't going to do anything. So on that note, like I said, it'll be on my X account, Sean Ryan 762. The emails will be there.
Okay, the emails being there, this is actually super important. Let me read you this email that was sent out by this guy. It's been shared out so many times. So look, this is the references in the emergency drop with the Sam Sawyer currently live on the audio platforms. This is the email number 1. In case I do not make it to my decision point or on the Mexico border, I am sending this now. Please do not release this until January 1st and keep my identity private until then. What? First off, I am not under any duress or hostile influence or control. My first car was a 2006 black Ford Mustang V6 for verification. Just this guy's mindset to be clear as day and like, hey, I'm good. Here's my first car. You could check it. Like, I'm good. I know what I'm talking about right now. What we have been seeing with these drones is the operational use of gravitic propulsion system powered by aircraft by most recently China and the East Coast. But throughout history, the U.S. and only we and China have this capability. Our open sea and location for this activity is in the box below. China has been launching them from the Atlantic for submarines for years, but this activity has recently just picked up. As of now, it is just a show of force, and they're using it similar to how they use balloon for InSight and ISR, which are also part of the integrated comm system. There are dozens of balloons in the air at any given time. Jesus. And so what has become a speed and stealth of these unmanned AC? They're the most dangerous threat to national security that has ever existed. They basically have unlimited payload capacity and can park it over the White House if they wanted to. It's literally checkmate. Oh, USG needs to give the history books on this, how we are employing it and weaponizing it. How is China employing them, and what the way forward is. China is poised to attack anywhere in the East Coast. And I'm on the East Coast. This is not good. China, don't make me go Wukong on your ass. Literally. I've been followed for over a week now, and likely Homeland or FBI. They are looking to move on me and are unlikely going to let me cross into Mexico, but won't because they know I'm armed and have a massive BIED, which I think means vehicle bed. It's like a vehicle bomb car. I'm trying to maintain a very visible profile and have kept my phone, and they are definitely digitally tracking me. I have knowledge of this program and also war crimes that were covered up during the airstrikes in Nimroz province in Afghanistan in 2019. Jesus. By the admin, Department of Defense, DEA, and the CIA, I conducted targeting for these strikes for over 125 buildings. 65 were struck because of CVACs that killed hundreds of civilians in a single day. Oh, yeah, and I bet you most Americans don't even know about that. I didn't know about that. The U.S. FORA continued strikes after spotting civilians on the initial ISR is supposed to take 6 minutes and scramble all aircraft in sitcom. The United Nations basically called these war crimes, but the administration made them disappear. Yikes. But the administration made them disappear. I was part of that cover-up. With the USFOR, the agent redacted of the DEA. So I don't know if my abduct attempt is related to either. I worked for Jen Miller's IO staff on this, as well as response on Bella Merkhead. Jesus. AOB as commander at the time redacted can validate this. You need to elevate this to the media so we can avoid a world war, because this is a mutually assured destruction situation. This pin, for those of you who don't know, is the location of Area 51. If you're picking up what I'm putting down, then please like the video, subscribe, and if you really like it, then share it with some of your friends. My goal here is to spread a positive message while sprinkling my 2 cents on big topics like American, Indian, and world geopolitics, and even small stuff like Twitch drama and online debacles. And if you want to see it live, come join me over on Twitch. Twitch.tv/ActuallyElrod. That's where I'm going to do all my reactions, and after the reactions, that's where we get down a game. And if you're like, hey, I have a video that I want this dude to sprinkle his 2 cents on, then come over on my Discord and let me know and join the community there. And while we're at it, I have to say thank you to everybody who has made that Discord just so poppin'. I never thought I'd have a Discord that's so flowing. It's really cool to see. Shout out to you, Bobby, Omni, Demon, all of you who have been in there who are just super active. Logie, you're the man. Logie is the one who's like modding and helping run the server, so thank you, Logie. Lastly, I challenge you. I have a challenge for you. Make somebody laugh today. We all know there's enough hate and vitriol in the world. If energy is contagious like the flu, then let's spread and get everyone contagious with our positive energy, right? Not negative energy, because there's so much of that. And if we could just be a small little change in someone's day, then you never know. Maybe that's the thing that starts shifting this world to a happier, healthier, just better place. And with all that said and done, thank you guys, and I'll see you on the next one.